president also announced the recent ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. It all comes after months of negotiations.
The deal includes the release of hostages in exchange for Palestinians freed from Israeli prisons. Starting Sunday, Israeli troops will withdraw to a buffer zone around Gaza, pausing military operations to begin releasing 33 hostages, prioritizing women, children, and the elderly. This pause also allows critical humanitarian aid into Gaza and opens the door for long-term ceasefire talks. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has approved the deal, also known as Operation Wings of Freedom, which could see 2 Americans freed in its first phase.
Fortunately for the families that are waiting for their loved ones to be buried in Israel, the nightmare is over as well.
Negotiations were spearheaded by the Biden administration, Qatar, and Egypt, with President-elect Donald Trump calling it an epic agreement. After 15 months of war that killed thousands of people, supporters of this truce say it marks a crucial step toward peace. This conflict certainly has sent shockwaves around the world.
Yeah, here in Northern California, families have ties on both sides of the battle lines. ABC 10's Luke Clary has reaction tonight.
A sense of relief in the streets of Tel Aviv and Gaza tonight, after Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire and a possible end to the conflict that sent reverberations around the globe, including Northern California.
We had over 113 relatives killed, and everyone just waiting for the moment for the ceasefire to take effect.
Bassem El-Kara, the executive director of CARE Action, said some people worry whether this will last.
Dozens have been killed after the announcement, so it's going to be a very scary moment over the next few days until we get to that point. But we're going to get to that point, and the people of Gaza have been celebrating. They're just waiting for that first night of sleep without bombs.
I think a lot of us are feeling relieved, but very cautious in our optimism.
Sahar Razavi is an associate professor of political science at Sacramento State.
A ceasefire is absolutely not the end, but the beginning of what we hope is going to be a longer process of peace building and stability in the region.
The two sides agreed to the release of dozens of hostages still held inside Gaza in exchange for hundreds of Palestinians freed from Israeli prisons. Hirsch Goldberg Poland, an American-Israeli born in Berkeley, California, did not survive his time as a Hamas captive, his parents speaking to ABC News.
Obviously, it is tragically, horribly too late for our only son, Hirsch, but we have become like family for so many of the 98 remaining hostages, their families and friends, and we are so hopeful and optimistic.
The strong reaction to the war created scenes like this across the U.S., demonstrations in solidarity with Israel and the Palestinians, taking place in Northern California as well.
We try to look at the positive things that happen, but people did feel hopeless. I mean, people tried everything. People marched in the streets. There was encampments in universities, lawsuits.
And as observers here begin to hope for a brighter future in the Middle East, a sobering recognition of the task at hand.
I want to make sure that people realize that this is the beginning of a process that has to bring everyone home.
The need for humanitarian aid is immense in Gaza right now, today.
Luke Clary, ABC 10.